But there's a lot going on behind the scene. I'll tell you what was hard was
Go on.
you know, can I tell you my one real regret?
Oh no, go on.
I nearly got eaten by a bear this time. That was fun.
No way. No way.
Funniest story. If you want to hear it, I'll tell you it.
So I've really come to like this person. They are one of the most well-known people in the EU scene, and their personality is just so vibrant and like you can't miss it. You know when they're in the room. They're one of those people that are just like loud, expressive in a positive way, and it's great to have them around. They're also like, I'm trying to think of the best way to phrase it, but the best term that's coming to my mind now is like rule breaker. They will come in kind of like a ball in a china shop, but in a good way, and just like break all the rules and like make just completely put on a show in their own style, in their own way, breaking all of like the set lanes where you're meant to end up. This is a person that just comes in and makes their own lane, just does it how they want, and you will literally see this in this episode. We're gonna break so many like normal Money Mitch like format things with this, because they were like, yeah, hey, you know what, we should just like go into a pub, and I was like, okay, cool. We should like just record this on the beach. Okay, cool. So it will speak for itself. Really enjoyed it. Like doing the interview, I've really enjoyed sharing my echo casting career with this person as well. I learned so much in terms of how to cast and how to like, you know, the showmanship, how to present yourself and run a show and make it entertaining for other people to see. Absolute privilege to present this person in this kind of format and get to know them and get to know their story. This is RetepWorm. RetepWorm. I've been saying their name wrong so many. RetepWorm. Either way, let's get into it. So here we are. First off, this is weird. It's normally the other way around. I'm with one of the most experienced casters in EU. The most experienced caster in EU. So normally you, naturally, take the lead and do all the intros, that kind of stuff. So it's actually kind of weird for me to do it.
That's all right. I'm ready for this, man. I want to hear your side.
Cool. Well, I want to set the scene. Right now we are Rocky de Papa in Rome.
Yes, sir.
This is Roman Lake behind us here. And my name's Moneymish26, as you know. And this is
RetepWorm. Hey, hello.
Yeah. So the reason we're here, tell us why we're here. Why are we out here? That's so random.
Why are we in Rome?
Yeah.
We had the Omnium LAN. Is it Omnium?
That is correct.
That is right. Thank God. Omnium LAN. Yeah, in Rome, which was the last Europe LAN ever, which is very sad. Very sad. But yeah, in LAN. So we've been traveling together a bit. We stayed together, and now we're at this lovely place. We've got Savage Large over there. Can't see him.
Yeah, we do. If you hear some like volleyball hits and taps, that's because we have Conan the Hutch, Young Beatty, Fam, Savage Large, and us two. Who's missing? Oh, Will.
Well, it is Will.
Will BWB75.
But that whole gang, whole gang's here.
Yeah, whole gang. So, we only have like 5 minutes here because it
is going to shut.
Which is really annoying because this is the one time you want to be at the beach, when like the golden hour.
It is crazy to shut at the beach at 8. We'll get the free beach.
Oh, that's a shout.
We should have got free beach.
No, afterwards. We can just move down there. We got a car till like 9.
We'll get a variety of locations, yeah.
Awesome. I like, this is a completely different format. And then, I think it's going, I think we can make this work.
We can make this work.
Yeah.
Because you can't see the view. The view is great here. This view is good. All the people.
Let's, because I feel like we might move this on in a second. So just the intro, how was the event for you? How was the Omnium event?
Yeah, fantastic. I loved it, man. I was worried, obviously. First Italian event. Yeah. It felt to me out of left field. You know, I haven't kept up with the Italian stuff, Italian league and all that. So for me, it was like a bit random. And then Tin Tocculus came to me last one and was like, come to my land. And I was like, all right, sure, bro. But then it looked really good. And I'm glad I went. It was really good. It was so fun. It was like smaller than Duckman. Because obviously I didn't go to the VRML LAN.
VRML Con, yes.
VRML Con, didn't make it that one. But Duckman was fantastic and big, you know. But this was like smaller, but so nice, right? In like a good old stone building, proper nice. Like, It's just good vibes. It was good.
I completely agree. But like, what else is adding to that? You said about the building, like the actual location.
It was, yeah, it's classy. We were saying last time, it's like we're in Bournemouth, and Bournemouth's nice. It's lovely. It's Bournemouth. It's kind of just Britain, England, but this is like so different. It's hot. It's like really nice. There's all the pizzas everywhere around. The whole place is just really old and really classy. When you leave, you go home to some place in Italy like this, and it's fantastic.
So as far as lands go, you've been to three?
Yeah.
3 in total.
Yeah.
So, like, do you want to talk about that a little bit? Like, what's your experience with lands? Obviously, it's a little bit different because you're not just a player, you're also a caster.
Yeah.
And what's unique about being a caster is Psychotic was talking about this. Everyone comes up to you, oh, it's so great to meet you. And you're like, like, not in a horrible way, but you're like, I'm also grateful to meet you, but I have no idea who you are, and I'm probably going to forget when you tell me.
So much. Yeah, I had that. It was weird because you've done it all online, and everyone kind of knows you online when you cast. But like, you go in lobbies, sometimes someone says hi, but it's not that intense. But you go in person, and everyone is like, Retep, oh, go Retep, hi. And I was like, who are you? Like, I know you probably in game, but I've never seen their faces. They know me just from my face online. That was weird. And then, of course, when they've met you, you have to remember them. And I just couldn't remember. And quite a lot of people, I pretended to know them, could not remember. They're like, yeah, we met yesterday. I'm like, yeah, man, loved it. We had a great time when we met, whoever you are. So that's you. Sorry. I love you, really. But, yeah, it was great. And this was one nice because it was smaller. I could actually know everyone here, which did help. It was nice. Because VRML land was, 300 people?
350.
350, that's crazy. I could not have done that. I wouldn't know anyone.
You're right. People do mix, though. People do mix up a lot, and generally you just know people in the community, so it is quite easy to do that. But you're right. When it's bigger, it does, like, sort of it breaks down into, like, that crew, that crew, that crew.
Yeah, how's that for you? Because you don't know the Americans that well, right?
So I kind of do, because I've done the other lands. So I went out to Toronto, which I did the whole vlog for, and I did, the first one was Atlanta, Tyro, and that experience was way different to any of the others, because that was the first time, first of all, meeting Echo people, and then meeting them, American Echo people, a whole different region across the world. I had the full, like, culture shock anyway of going to America, but also, yeah, these people that you've seen, like meeting Palador, Giddigan, Psychotic, these people that I've seen their faces casting and things like this, but yeah, you meet them in person, it's a bit weird. I've kind of forgot that until a couple of people I met for the first time at this land.
Yeah, I get that. God, I'm so jealous you met like Palador and that a lot.
Oh, that's actually really weird to think about because you worked with him so long.
I know. I looked up to him for so long. He was always my like idol when I started Echo stuff. I got into casting because of Palador, and I saw him doing it, and I was like, I want to do that, and I've never met him.
I really want to ask about casting, but I do appreciate the sun's going down. We may have to move our slot here because it's about 8 o'clock. Yeah, so we're going to go for a pause here, and we'll be back in another beautiful scene.
Lovely.
Nice. All right, pubs.
15.
What's this thing, bro? Whoa, all right. We got Americans. Hey, Mitch. All right, sick. Yeah. What are you? How's everything? Good, man. Are we? What's the format?
There is no format. It's never been done.
Hey, Shark Warrior, man. You know, we would be winning right now.
Let's go.
Yeah, straight up.
It's my first pub I played in like,
You know what, mate? In my head, it's top one bad.
No,
go,
really good.
Let's go, gangs!
No, not anymore.
They actually got worse. Is that what you're right?
Yeah, they progressively got worse, yeah.
Why are you doing?
that's crazy. I'll grab.
Please.
Finish it, brother. Finish it.
Please, thank you.
We got 15 seconds.
There you go, Sam. Get out of there.
Professional.
Unmute.
They are unmuted. It's bad, man. I can't believe it.
You're listening. Okay.
Yeah, I'm listening.
RetepWorm. Where do you want to go first? I mean, we've already spoke about Italy. Talk about the backpacking. I was going to ask, before I crashed out, I was going to ask, like, is that the first time you've done backpacking? Is that something that just you're into? You're trying to do a bit more of that?
Nah, man, I love backpacking.
Okay.
Love it, big time. I do it whenever I can.
I'm going again in September and then November because I love solo backpacking. Is so good. You meet loads of people. It's very, very social. I nearly got eaten by a bear this time. That was fun.
No way. No way.
Story. If you want to hear it, I'll tell you it. I went. So it was really hot in Rome, right? So garlic bread man, was like, "Hey, you want to come with me in the car? I'll give you a lift to the mountains." And I was like, "Fire, let's do it." So go to the mountains, and on the way there, like as we get up to the mountains, it is cooler, but there's these like signs that are like, "Watch out for bears," and I was like, "No, right? Italy, bears?"
I didn't know there was bears in Italy.
That's what I'm saying. Apparently, brown bears in the mountains. They're bringing them back, which is great. But it meant, I'm sleeping in a hammock. So we go into the forest and pull over by the road. And I'm sleeping in this hammock, and he's in the car. And I'm like, this is fine. Like, I'm sure the bears, they don't come here, right? In this town, because we're near a town. And then in the night, there's all these animals running around me. I'm like, that's scary. But I'm trying to chill. It's like 1 a.m. I'm like, just chill. Just don't, logically, they're not going to come over. And if they do, just scream and run in the car. The more time goes on, the more kind of freaked I'm getting. There's brown bears, so they're pretty scary. And my worry is, one of them is going to come over, investigate me. I'm going to panic, and he's going to, sideswipe me off the hammock. But I'm like, it's fine. And then animals running past and stuff. And then at one point, like 3 a.m., I just hear this. like 10 meters away, and some big animal. I just freeze. I'm like, huh? Like what? I'm freaked out. And like after like a minute, it just stops, and I get my torch out. I'm looking around trying to see it. Can't see a thing because it's really phone torch, and it's terrifying. I'm like, just like relax. Whatever it was, probably gone. I keep hearing sounds from over where it was, and there's like sound. And then more later, like 20 minutes later, and like things sniffing and horrifying. And I'm like, I'm gonna die. But like, I'm trying to be cool because I think it's okay. And then at some point, I'm like, do I go in the car? I'm like, I'm scared. But I don't want to wake Garlic Bread up because he's let me sleep out here and giving me a lift. And then in the morning, it just gets late and I finally fall asleep. I never work out what it was. And at the time, I was like, it was fine. And now I'm looking back at it. I'm like, that was totally a bear, right? Like, what else is that going to be? I mean, oh my God. And I was just sleeping in a little hammock, and you're not allowed to camp there. So I don't know what I was thinking. There? No.
So why were you there?
Because
where'd you get a hammock from?
Garlic bread man. You just carry the hammock with him.
Oh, okay. So where did he sleep? Was he in the safety of the car?
In the car. He was in the car.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. It's so funny.
You're the decoy.
I'm the decoy. And looking back at it, I'm like, that's crazy, because if a bear wanted to eat me, I would just be dead.
Yeah, 100%.
I heard wolves too. Wolves howling in the distance. That was fun.
No way.
Yeah, wolves there too.
Oh, that reminds me. No spoilers, but have you seen Black Mirror? The recent season? Oh, okay.
No, not me.
Yazza was talking about it in the team comment.
Is there wolves in the...
kind of related, yeah. But if you haven't seen it, I don't want to say any more than that.
I bet.
Really
I'm so behind, man.
Oh, so good. And before we move on from the backpacking, any advice you have for anyone that's like 18, 19, 20, that may be wanting to go backpacking around
my
Europe?
God. Do it. Just go. Hostels are amazing. They're so good because you just become really good friends with people like instantly. Like you just kind of, you're in a room with someone and so you're friends because they don't know anyone. You don't know anyone. So for like a day, maybe 2 days, you become best friends with this random group of people. You all just meet there and then you never see each other again. It's so good because you get way more confident in meeting people because like it's so easy. It's so easy. You'll just be at one place, you go somewhere for lunch and you meet some friends and you hang out for a few hours. It's really good. And then in the evening, you've met another group of people and they're all really cool. So worth it. Do it. 100%.
Cool. Retep, I'll give you a choice. Which way do you want to go? Do we want to go? Because there's a few like big subjects that we could touch here. We've got like play in Echo as a player. We have casting, all the production work you do. Your film work that you do. On your YouTube channel, which is your real name. It's got all of these mini films that you've made.
Yeah, you've been spotting the films. That's nice. Oh.
What way do you want to go to? What do you want to talk
I'll start with playing. I'll start with playing. That's why I started
Cool.
out. So.
How did you get into Echo? How did you start playing Echo? Well, what made you pick up a headset, play the game, and then not stop playing?
So my friend Shoehorn, back in 2018, he got like a DK1 or whenever they were out, 2017. Because his dad's work, and I was like, this is great. This is so sick. And then he got a headset, and then later on sold it to me, a CV1. And so we used to play Echo back in 2019, I guess.
Oh,
so
wow.
like pre-season, 3v3 era. And we played a bit there. And I was like, this is crazy. Like the biggest experience for me, I remember defining Echo, was going into a lobby and being like, I don't know what's going on. And seeing someone else by the terminal explaining to their friend what to do by pointing at buttons and being like, so this button here does this. And I was like, that is crazy. That's crazy. Like, I'm used to video game menus where you just sit there and having someone actually be like, hey man, like, click this here, was like unreal. I was like, you're so real. And then that's obviously back in the PC VR days. So it was gorgeous too. I loved it.
Experience like that on any other games before Echo? Or was Echo your first game of like real social VR?
Yes, the first social VR game. And I found it like VR chat just never captured that for me the same way. It was like Echo, you have movement, it's real, it feels great. Every other game, I was like, that's pretty. That's about it, So Echo defined that for me. And when I stopped playing it for a while, I came back to it, just amazed again. Like a year later, I was just so amazed again at how good it felt still.
So when you came back, was this COVID times? Was this Quest?
Yeah, I must have been when Quest 1, so a little bit just before Quest dropped, I was playing, and I remember, 5-minute queue times and stuff. And then out of nowhere, Quest dropped and it blew up. And suddenly everyone was playing, tiny queue times, 4v4, way more exciting. And that's when I started getting really into it. And so that was season 2 it must have been coming into. That's when I made my team just before season 2. And I was like, screw it, let's make a team and see what happens. And I did, Team Comet. I'm still with them, still running it.
And how did you meet your teammates first? Was it on like Reddit or somewhere, or was it literally in game in pubs?
It was all Discord, I think. I just posted in the EU Discord and the Notice channel. I was like, Team Comet looking for people just to chill. And then people messaged, and I remember like Oriolium was my first guy I got in, and I did a little tryout with him. And I'm like, I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm not even level 50 yet. So I'm like trying out this guy. And I'm like, let's just like play a pub, I guess. So we just play a pub, and then and it was fun. So I was like, sure, like go in the team. And I told all of them that I'd pick them out of like everyone, but really I only went for like 4 people, and I was like, yeah, that's pretty good. That's good enough. So that was my original team.
That was season 2, as your badge says above your head.
Yes, sir.
You stuck together for 5 seasons?
Yeah, man, crazy. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 seasons, right? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, 6 seasons.
Oh yeah.
Because inclusive. So we had one switch. We had Avazandum switched out for someone else in, I think for Yasai, end of season 2. And that was pretty much it. Other people joined, but no one else left, I think. We just had people sort of switch out a bit. But like pretty much consistent the whole time. It was Riva joined for a while, long time, left for a bit, and then came back. Samara joined for a long time, left for a while, and came back. Eventually you joined in as well. Yeah. Man, right at the end, season 7. And we just sort of stayed very consistently as a team. Yeah. Consistent in a lot of ways, like rank. So chilling out. Didn't get very high.
I remember the bio used to be like, season 2, bronze. Season 3, silver. Season 4, gold. Gold, but better.
Yeah. And then I was like, season 6, gold. Season 7, gold. Just stayed there. We never went up. Each time it would be like, the next season we'd put like master to be confirmed. And every time we'd increase the number by 1, because obviously we just stay at gold. And it'd be like, next season is going to be, easy master. But I don't know, none of us really massively wanted master, I think. Hey, look, come on. We were kind of all more for like just chilling and enjoying the game more than necessarily pushing and competing a lot, training a lot. We kind of just do like maybe a scrim and 2 matches a week. And that was it. And just have fun.
Yeah, and you consistently did that. Like you kept the same team, as you say, only like 1 person left over the course of those 6 months.
Yeah. The whole time, which is good. It was fun. I mean, we all really enjoyed playing together, and we wouldn't really play like mixed or anything. So none of us learned from anyone else. So we wouldn't get much better. Like I kind of would learn and like try and develop team strategies just by like making it up and seeing what worked, and that was really fun. It never went anywhere. It means you're kind of going from scratch. But like I enjoyed it. The guys would enjoy developing it over time. I think our biggest weakness is like we could have done so much better if we'd obviously been actually competing and had people to train us and like practicing every day. We did that for a little bit and we did enjoy it, and we got way better really quick. But we kind of got a bit burnt out, and we all kind of decided we thought if we kept doing that, we'd probably end up burning out at the end of the season.
Well, that's what happens to a lot of the other teams. Like majority of teams, maybe it's like an esport thing or just a sport thing in general. If you look at all these high-end teams that do grind to get to that highest level, they all fall apart. There's no consistent teams up there. They all just crumble. As soon as they like reach a higher rank, just the burnout kills them, and then they break up and then maybe come back later. But
I mean, I think part of that as well is when it's really competitive, there's a lot more stress on those relationships, right? Yeah. There's a lot, and they fracture a lot harder. Yeah. Because you start getting frustrated in a match if you're losing, and you start arguing, and then that kind of develops. I've seen a lot of teams do that. Yeah. And then they reform, and they'll go and find other people they want to play with and stuff, and it just goes all over. We would see that, and we'd be like, we're kind of enjoying being down here, just chilling, just having a good time. And one team we were big fans of was Fireballs. Yeah. Because they were like exactly like what we wanted to be. Yeah. And we were really in our heads. They trained a lot harder than us. So they originally were like coming to us, asking us to help them out. And they, way further than us. Because they would consistently compete and practice and work on it. But they were really good. They were really fun together. They really enjoyed each other's company and wouldn't argue. And great people. I love all of them. So they managed to keep that very consistent roster and work with it and climb really fast. And that's what I think is just like the best, my favorite team. And they copied our name. They use the same logo and the same orange colors and everything. It's just a bit different. It's like a fireball rather than a comet, but it's very similar. We love it.
So what made you like? It seems almost unconscious. You just come in. Of course, you're going to start a team yourself. You're going to be captain, and you're just going to keep it going for all of these seasons. You didn't like. You seemed happy in that position, and like just naturally you take to it. You're very comfortable walking in and being like, "Hey guys, let's go. Let's do this."
I love it. I love having a team. I can just work on and be proud of, and I really enjoy the sort of analytical side of the game and working out what we're doing wrong and how to improve and sort of organizing stuff, organizing all the matches. I organized like every match we did and every scrim for season 2 to about season 6, mid-season 6. At some point I got too busy and I had to step away, and that's kind of we stopped playing for a while. Because I did every week I do it, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot. And it was I don't know. I never really wanted to be a member of a team. I don't know. I just never appealed to me as much as having my own team and people who like I know are cool. You know, I got these guys in, and a big part of why I wanted to get these guys was that they seemed really fun and really cool, and not like difficult. I talked to so many teams where they have so many issues, and they disagree with people, but they can't do anything about it because it's that player is good, and they really want to work with them, even if they're kind of argumentative, or the captain wants to do this and they don't agree, but they have to do it. I don't want to deal with that drama. I just enjoyed having a team and having a good time with them. I always have.
Did you play any team sports before Echo?
Not really. I went to a really competitive school, and it was like crazy. They're like army drill instructors as PE teachers. Yeah. And they would just be walk around really angry. They would just like march up to you, playing rugby and stuff. Top of like Dartmoor, which is like freezing cold. They'd march up to you and grab you and pull you somewhere, if you weren't in position or whatever, and really make it like competitive and yelling and so harsh. And it just put me off. It really put me off sports. I just hated it because I didn't like the uber masculine competitive vibe of it all. And it actually took until Echo to be like, I actually really enjoy competitive team sports stuff. And I got into ultimate frisbee for a while because of Echo, because of the disc thing. But like, I really enjoyed that, and I want to get into more team stuff. Because I find I actually do enjoy it outside of that really toxic environment. And I'm kind of sad that put me off it all for so many years. Yeah.
So do you feel like it was like a counter thing because you had that experience that you didn't like of like the regimented, like the forceful militant way of playing a game? You wanted to create the opposite atmosphere in your team. So
maybe.
Welcoming, happy.
Yeah, I guess that definitely is part of it because I hated that so much. I was like, nothing I want to play is anything like that. That's just. I remember, my parents were like, when I was younger, would come along to a match, and I messed up some thing I did. I can't remember, and they were like shocked. They were like, because the captain of the team, who was like one of my people in my school year, just came over and just yelled at me, and that kind of experience. You're right. Maybe you're right. It really didn't want. I have always wanted the team just be chill and have fun, and mistakes totally fine. We're having a good time. I guess it did. I guess. Well, being psychoanalyzed here, but it's good. Yeah. Yeah, man.
So sport isn't the main thing that you did at school. You do theatre.
Showing your ass to the camera. Right? What's this about? Sorry, is the camera over here, isn't it?
Yeah, it's over here.
You're showing your ass to the camera. That's all right. Your legs just drifted right in front.
No, I didn't even notice. Yeah, it's because I sit with my knee up, and sometimes it blocks the controller.
That's all right. That was
yeah,
special thing.
So
Sorry, go on.
Well, I was asking about. So because of the sports side of things, I was asking, did you play any other sports? And you told us that story about how you didn't enjoy like the seriousness, people taking the game too seriously that.
Yeah.
But you excelled in theatre studies instead, right? Or perhaps there's other things to it. Go on.
Yeah, I did. I got really into theatre instead, which is so lame. Like going from sports to theatre, because they got the cool muscly guys in like sports, and you've got the lame theatre kids. But I loved it. I loved it, man. It was great. It was way nicer atmosphere. I got into it. I had a crush on this girl, and she said she did theatre, and I was like, join that theatre company. And we dated like 3 years. So, it works. But then I got really into it. I found I actually loved it, and I really kept doing it since. That was when I was probably like 10 years old. And I've got, really, really into it since then. And I now do it at university. I've just finished doing it at uni, film and theatre. And it's good, much less competitive. Toxic at times in the same way, but much, much less competitive.
Do you feel there's a niche within theatre that you enjoy more? Or is it quite broad at the moment? You just kind of enjoy all of it. You're still figuring out what's right for you.
Yeah, I mean, I got into musical theatre for a while. one of those guys, you know. Like you can tell sometimes, but yeah, I used to love musical theatre. I used to do like 2-3 musicals at a time.
Oh wow.
For years, yeah, doing loads of different parts and stuff. And uni comes a bit harder. There's not as much of that happening, and I'm too busy. So now I'm kind of more into just like regular theatre stuff, like acting, especially one man. I did a one-man play recently. I did BoJack Horseman, Free Chiro. The monologue, it's an episode from BoJack Horseman that I just thought was incredible. It's a one-man monologue at his mum's funeral, and it's a eulogy that he's doing. And the entire episode is just him, apart from like 2 shots. And it's crazy. The writing is ridiculously good. And so I saw it, and there was this theatre festival near me. So I took that, made it like twice as long, changed it to be different version, like mum and stuff and all this. My dad, so Toxic Masculinity and my dad. And then performed it at this, and I found I loved that, like just performing to a crowd of people and just talking to them in this character, this comedy monologue that is half improvised. It's really a lot of improv as you go. I performed it the first time in the car before my first show, like right outside, because I've got my list of points I want to hit and like sub points, and then I just like have it on a stand and I'm just talking. And I'll just quietly look over it and be like, what is next? And I'll be like, oh, thingy van. And I'll just improvise about this van. And I love that. I love just talking to people and having a much more human connection performance. So yeah, that's the kind of thing I'm maybe looking at more if I can. More of that. Just human connection stuff. I love it. It's good. It's like casting.
Is that anywhere that we can see it? The performance that you did? Is it
Great
uploaded
question.
anywhere?
It's not in a minute,
Well,
but I do want to put it up. I have it somewhere. I just forgot. I was going to try and do some more of it, but I sort of forgot. But yeah, I'll put it up on my YouTube. That might be fun, actually.
Nice.
I've got a little video of it. Yeah, go on.
Well, I imagine
It's a good
that's
plan.
one of the primary ways to get noticed now, right? In any kind of like theatre or film or anything like that, to put your short films up or productions or shows on YouTube and try and get them seen.
There is that. It is hard. It's very, very saturated online these days. And there's so much just terrible stuff out there that it's impossible to sift through it and find something good. Yeah. So you really, if you want to get noticed, it is hard. You kind of have to, if you want to get into theatre and noticed, you've got to get like an agent who will take you to the auditions and find you opportunities and stuff. Because it's so competitive. I'm probably more looking into film, but getting into like any professional film work is just as hard. It's really, really competitive. A lot of people be like a runner, which is like you're there first in the morning and right till the end, paid like nothing, and do that for like 2 years until you get like any job in the industry at all. It's crazy, really competitive. So I don't know. I'll put them up, and we're sending a lot of our films off to film festivals. That's a big one. All over the UK. We're going to start doing that now, big time. Hopefully, something come of it. I don't know. One day.
Have you got a little team? Have you got a little group?
I do. I got my friend now. My guy I'm going to live with now. I've started doing films with him. He's really talented. He's great. We're just working on this corporate interview at the minute together, and I love working with him. I'm a big people person. I love working with clients directly and chatting to people. And I'm like, I want someone to work with who is like talented and like knows tech stuff really well, but also is like great at people and talking to people. And that's this guy, which is great. And that's what I need. Someone who can like charm the clients and all that. Because like there's nothing worse than someone who's like artistic and talented, but needs to work with someone and it just doesn't have the social skills to do it. They're really nervous about it. I think that's a real obstacle, and it's a really important part of it. Yeah, it'll be good. Hopefully it'll be fun. Content house. We have a good content house.
Oh yeah. TikTok house.
We're 3 of us videographers living in the same house. So yeah, man.
And that's you went to uni in Bristol, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
University of Bristol.
You're still over there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right now I'm in Devon for the summer, but I'm back over afterwards. Back and chilling in Bristol to work on it. Yeah, man. Should be fun.
You briefly mentioned it, casting.
Yes, right.
Okay.
Casting.
So how did that come about? Were you approached about it, or did you just start doing it yourself?
No, I always thought casting was like so cool. Like back in pre-season, I heard about Palador casting, and I was like, "Whoa, this is cool. This is really. That's what I want to do. That was my goal." And then I left it ages. And then when I came back, our team, one of our first matches got cast by Swift, and old EU caster, and I was like, "This is so cool." I was so nervous. My headset broke. I had to go to my friend's house and borrow his like index, and I think that's not that one. Was that then? Maybe it was. One of them had borrowed index. So nervous of the cast. I'm like using his like weird controllers and trying just to work out how to throw a disc with them. And like, I'm so determined to do well for this cast because it's so cool. It was so cool being cast. And then a while later, I was like, I want to get into this. I want to do this. So I just started like you did, doing community casts. There was a tournament. What was it called? Oh, it was Fireballs. It was a Fireballs tournament.
Oh, okay.
The Fireballs did a tournament, only gold people, and I joined that, gold and silver, and I did the casting for every match, and really enjoyed it. I loved it. And so, end of season 2 this is. So I did all these matches, and then sent them off to Palador and was like, can I maybe be a caster? And he was like, well, I mean, the application window is finished, but I can open the little back door and let you in. So he got me in, and I was like ecstatic. I was so excited about it. I was just over the moon to be a VRML caster. That was great, man. So hype.
How was like the technical side of it, of casting? Was it pretty easy to you? You've grown up with computers and knowing how to set up.
Yeah. My dad does computer stuff. He's like a programmer, so I get a lot of computer stuff. So it wasn't too bad. Back then, the package was quite manual. So the stream package to become a cameraman was a lot of work. So that I found quite hard for a while. But getting into just, I had a Snowball mic I used, and I used I didn't have a webcam, so I used my phone as a camera. I still do. my phone, I put it up, my mobile phone. Yeah. My phone up on my side, and then use like Droid Cam to put it on my computer. I still do that. Whenever I want to cast, I have to get a big box and put my phone on it. I loved it, and it was cool. It was like the hardest part for me, obviously, was I'm like, what do I do? How do I cast? How do you cast with someone else, especially because there wasn't really any training at that point for it. I didn't have anyone to show me how to cast. So when you see Luke, he was also just starting casting, and he was like, "Hey man, we'll do it together. I've done air shows and stuff." So he helped me out and taught me a little bit before, and he was just incredible, like natural. So he helped me learn how to hand off to someone when you change over casting, every like 30 seconds or so. And we used to cast together like all the time, and it was awesome, man. I loved it. I just cast him, so often, and that's how I learned. Really, it's just Luke, just copying what Luke does.
So was this Luke coming on early to do the EU games, or was it you staying up late for NA, or just both?
Both. Luke would just we would do EU stuff, and then I'd be up at like 1 a.m. doing NA stuff. It was great. We do so many casts together. More often, I think, in the end, he had to do EU because I went to uni, so I had to cast in my room. So, and the rules like paper thin. So I'm there like, I actually developed some really bad habits with my voice back then by trying to yell without yelling. So I'd have the mic, and I'm like, I can't be like, let's go! I have to be like, let's go! Going in the blue corner, and I do that a lot. Which strains your voice. Right? No vocal warm up. Okay. Doing that destroy my voice so many times. And when I actually was able to be a bit louder, when I had a better place, it took a long time to get over that habit and start to actually work on like helping repair my voice again and get it stronger. Because
you are very conscious of your voice. Whenever I cast with you, like 2 minutes before, you're like, "Hey, Mitch, I'm just doing my warm-ups," and then you'll just walk into the toilet and be like, "La la la."
I mean, it's. I'm so aware of it now, especially. I've always been, because I had singing lessons and stuff, and they drill into you. Your voice is a tool, and if you damage it, it is going to have long-term effects. You need to constantly working on it and getting it stronger. And then so when I was like destroying it back in season 3, I regret that a lot, I think, now, because I think that is definitely going to have had long-term effects, and it gets tired a lot quicker than it used to now. I'll feel it. You know, after the LAN, I warmed up my voice a lot. I was looking after it as much as I could. I'd keep on warming it up. But then, like, one game on the second day, I had to come in. I warmed up, and then it was like an hour later we started. And that just destroyed my voice. And I suffered for that the whole weekend afterwards. I really had to work on it to keep it going. And afterwards, like, couldn't talk the next day. It's a shame. It's a shame. It is annoying, but, it'll come back. And I just got to keep working on it and stuff. But I just have to look after it quite a lot.
Was this Duckman LAN, or are you talking about Italy LAN?
Italy LAN. Oh, okay. It was, one of the games second morning. First day was fine. Second day morning was, I just went into one, and as I was going, I was like, I should have got warm again. No.
So what does
you go for it, yeah.
Could you talk to me about like how you actually prepare your voice? Like what?
Yeah. So it's like any muscle, right? Of your vocal cords, like when you're going to go climbing or running, you have to warm up, or you're going to sprain your leg. And the same with your voice. You can't just go from nothing to yelling. Talking, obviously, like, is fine, chill. But when you're like trying to get the power and the dynamic for a cool cast, you have to spend time before that warming the voice up by doing those, da 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 da, and like with like and mums and all that stuff, to warm your lips up, warm your mouth up. But really the vocal cords, get them ready. Do your yawns and your diaphragm stuff, just to get it ready. I mean, Lockie. Fantastic caster, so talented, but never looked after his voice, and I really think that's a big part of why he burnt out, was because it would just hurt him. I think you could see it on the cast. When someone's casting, you can't see them from the other side, but when we're the casters behind the scenes, I can see Lockie doing these, and he's straining to get this energy out, and then as soon as he'd be finished, he'd be like, sit back and have to like have some water, and obviously it looks like he's a bit in pain, which is a shame, and it's something that I've realized, really regretted not pushing as more of a thing when we sort of taught casters to be VRML casters, was you've got to look after your voice, because damaging it is so bad. It's like, deadly. And obviously as casters, that's your biggest tool. You gotta keep it fresh, keep it tight. We'll see you.
And is this all things that you've learned in the theatre world and you brought to casting, or is it something that you learned the hard way in casting and you've had to quickly figure out the tools? Or both? Both,
actually. Yeah, I knew this from theatre. I'd have shows where it's like, I had one show I did, which was a 2-hour show, Jeeves and Worcester. And I was at Worcester, so I never leave stage. So it's a 3-man show, 2 hours. We toured around the country a bit, and great fun. But we didn't have microphones because they wanted it to be more authentic. And I said only 3 of us. So I'm on stage the whole time. The first 10 minutes is just me. So I had to have a good voice for it. I had to be ready. And I got a cold one of the weeks, and it was like terrifying, because I'm really struggling to talk. And I've got to, project to the back of the room for 2 hours. And I just couldn't do it. And so I had to spend like an hour warming up and getting it ready. And then I had to have like throat sweets hidden around the stage and all that sort of stuff. Like it was terrifying. I was like, the whole time I'm there, I'm like, I'd do it and I'd be like, oof, but I've got to like keep going. And I'm like, am I going to last? And my voice is cracking at the end and stuff. So that kind of thing, I was like, I've got to look after my voice. Because if this happens on stage, or if I'm singing or anything, terrifying nightmare. I had an audition a while ago. I had the same thing. I had a cold, and I was singing. I think "Waving Through a Window" from Dear Evan Hansen. If you don't know it, it goes really high. And I can hit it, but then I got the cold, and I was like, I gotta go for it. I went for it, and my voice just cracked. And I was like, waiting for And it was so humiliating because at my uni, I knew everyone. And I was like, oh no. And so, yeah. So that kind of stuff makes me go like, that lives in my nightmares. And that's why you've got to look after your voice. Because that stuff happens, you just give up. You go home. You're done.
So voice breaks, are they avoided just by warming up? Because I have voice breaks all the time. And I get them the most when I'm playing rather than I'm casting. Because when I'm playing, I don't talk all the time. And then the moment where I need to speak, it goes, it's just
it's like
trips.
You know, in the morning, your voice is like a bit rough, you know, and you're a bit like, that's a cold voice. And that stuff you yell, you're really likely to crack your voice. I don't know what the exact science what is. I don't know. I learned ages ago. I've forgotten it all. But yeah, voice cracks so often are really caused part because of a cold voice. And obviously when you play, you're not warming up your voice at all. You're just going in from, all right, let's play a match, into like yelling and suddenly really going for it. And that shift, you know, it's right bad with your voice. My voice really hurts sometimes after games. And so, yeah, that's why you ideally you warm up. If you want to really do it properly, you should do these vocal warm-ups like every day and get your voice stronger and work it out so it's ready. But I don't, and you know, what are you going to do?
And also, did I hear this right? I think you mentioned this when we were in Italy. You've worked on your voice before, right? Even before any of the theatre study stuff. Is that right?
Yeah,
or have I misunderstood.
Well, I did singing lessons and stuff. I mean, I did theatre studies only when I was 20. Started when I was 20. Right. And I've been doing theatre since I was 10. So I did a lot of that through the years. You know, working. I mean, every show starts a warm up. A lot of rehearsals will start with vocal warm up. So I've done so many, and obviously singing lessons, they'll always be like, you've got to do warm-ups, you've got to do warm-ups. So yeah, I've done a lot of them over the years. And I, obviously in COVID, didn't do anything like that. And I think, you know, not a great idea. So yeah, I think if I want to get into this casting thing more, then I've got to take it seriously and look after your voice. The same as if you were like trying to be an athlete, you gotta look after your muscles in your body and stuff. You gotta look after it. You can't just start sprinting, trying a marathon. Yeah.
Nice. Maybe I misheard it, but you said something about like pronunciation or something.
Oh, that! Yeah. Yes. Okay, so this is a big. It is separate, but
okay.
A big reason why I wanted to get into casting was because I had dyspraxia when I was a kid. And so if you don't know, that's sort of the clumsy one where you're a bit like, you know, a bit clumsy and everything.
Oh, it's
I'm
a
very
physical
clumsy.
one. So like it would affect your ability for sports.
Yeah. So my legs are clumsy. I can never do football. I couldn't do Lego. Hated Lego. Lego made me so angry. I'd be like, I can't get it apart. Hate it. And for me, one of the big things was my speech. I had worse control of my speech and clarity and speed, especially of speech. So I used to talk really fast and just be incomprehensible. And I find myself doing that sometimes now, and it's, you know, I have to work on it. I have to really force it down. But being clear when I spoke was always a challenge, and so I finally went to speech therapy for a while when I was younger. And that really helped, you know. They put me honey up here and like get used to like not having a lisp. I have a big lisp and a stutter when I was younger. And that really helped get past all that stuff. And I still find myself stuttering sometimes now, and I'm always like, sometimes I'm like, do I have a lisp again? Like, can't tell. I'm still undecided if I have. But yeah, like that was one thing with I wanted to like a podcast or something for a long time, because I was like, I want to have to work on my voice. I want to be like forced to be clear all the time. And so I found casting, and I was like, yeah, that sounds good. So I've got to be clear. I mean, theatre was another reason for that. Another reason to theatre was to help with that, to be clear on stage. I have to talk at the speed of the character and perform lines loudly and clearly and slowly.
So why was it important to work on that?
Because I didn't like being so hard to understand. Just even now, right? I so many times I'll say something, And I'm just like, no one understood that. And people were like, what? And I'm like, yeah, sorry. Try again, do it again. Yeah, I still have a lot of issues with my speech. And I sort of hope it doesn't come through on a cast. But I have to always do sort of mouth exercises before I go on to try and make it clearer.
Right.
It's annoying, and I'm glad I've done all this stuff to work on it. But recently, like last year, I got mysterious, exciting nerve damage in my tongue. Got ill, and I got like 12th cranial nerve palsy. Ooh. Just like out of nowhere, my tongue got paralysis, and it goes like to the side. So I stick it out and it just goes like that to the side, which is weird. It looks weird, and it's crazy. And doctors are still like, what is wrong with you? They're trying to work it out. But like, it probably looks like it's just going to be here for life now. And that makes it a bit harder again sometimes, because when I'm tired, especially, I start to get, I have to work harder again to make it clear. And it's not the end of the world. It's not too bad. I forget about it most of the time. But it's just, big thing for me now is be clear. Like, be really clear when I speak, all the time. And I so often slip, and I find myself I'm like, no one understands. What are you saying? What are you saying right now? I don't know. I hope I can get it well enough on casts that people can understand me without, having to be like...
Well, from my point of view, I can say that it's really not noticeable. And whether that's it's probably a combination of the fact that you've worked on it, also the fact that it's probably not even that bad in the first place. But thirdly, the energy you carry in what you say, I think like it's heavier than the fact of your pronunciation. So like you could literally say anything, but it's the way you're saying it and the energy you put behind it is what people hear instead. And I think that serves you well in casting, because casting, like Dimwee talks about this, where it really doesn't matter what you say. It's just you need to be speaking and with a bit of energy, and it's just sort of like accepted. It's like yeah, cool.
I do agree. Yeah, I think casting is so much that you're turning a match into a story, and you're building it like I always look at like you got the 2D version of the match on a sideline, and you're trying to build it into a whole thing like this, just for your voice. And obviously the energy of your voice. I always try and push on new casters and dynamics. Get more dynamic of your voice. Get your highs higher and your lows lower, so that, as you said, like the energy comes through when it needs to. When they're going to score a goal, that's when you need to be hyped. But equally, not all the time. You don't want to be constantly like, oh my god, look at them go, and they're passing in the middle, because then it's just one stream of consciousness. But if you're chilled out, like passing in the middle. Nice shot. And then it's like, whoa, great goal. It's like, you know. Yeah, so I hope that helps to make it more clear, as you said. It was bad. Go on.
I'm really quickly just grabbing a power thing. I just got low power.
Yes, sir. No stresses. I'll chill. Who is this guy, man? Hey, man, how's it going?
You are right in front of the camera there.
Hello, how's it going?
Oh my god, that's creepy.
The moon landings aren't real. I'm trying to think any other conspiracy theories.
You know
the
what?
fun ones.
Like
not
literally
the
today, I've got caught in a conspiracy theory.
Oh, go on, man.
About like Nazis in Argentina and Chile. Do you know about this?
No? Huh?
Yeah, it's not really a topic for the show, but...
Great, nice. Sounds good.
There's a whole documentary about how Hitler lived in Chile for like another 20 years.
Oh, this!
You know about this? Yeah.
I do know about this.
Yeah, mental.
I mean, did you see all the drawings police had for Hitler?
I'm not even into it that deep. I just saw like there's like a 3-season American Discovery Channel documentary on it, and that's as far as I got.
American TV shows can milk anything out.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, because I'm pretty sure it was like conclusively not. He didn't do it, and they put. I'm pretty sure. I mean, I could be wrong. When I saw it years ago, it was like there was a fear of this, but also they the body was like definitely Hitler's.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah,
but
because
like
that was the bit that like sparked it. Apparently, they had proof that the body wasn't confirmed as his, so it's like,
really?
well, where is it? What happened? Yeah. And it turns out like thousands of like senior Nazis moved to Argentina, and there's generations like their ancestors, their descendants all live over there now. There's like whole German communities.
Really?
Yeah, but that's not for now.
Wow, that's great. I mean, well, we'll say real quick. You've got to see this photo. It's like a police sketches of what Hitler could look like if he disguised himself, and it's just Hitler with like little random mustaches and different haircuts and stuff. It's so fun. But yeah, go on. What's next?
Yeah, we're talking about voices, and so a question I have for you is: so you've spent since season 2. When did you start casting? Like season 3?
Yep, season 3.
Yeah. So around season 3, you started casting. How many casts did you have over the time? Was it like 1,000?
No. I can't remember. I don't know what it is. It's 200-300, something like that. Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe less. I can't remember.
A substantial number of casts. That's like
a good
300
number.
hours of casting.
Yeah. So,
have you found that translate backwards? Does that now improve your ability in theatre? In terms of behind and in front of the camera? I
think, because, for example, this show I did, I think that the show I did was massively influenced the adaptation.
To your right, like 1 foot. Perfect.
Hello, guys. I think that theatre show, the BoJack show adaptation, massively because of casting. Because casting is chatting to an audience and being a performance and a personality. And that's what the show was. It was talking to an audience and being comfortable just talking and going off script. And I love that. I love, improv stuff like that. I think is really, really fun. I always wanted to get into improv, and I couldn't for years because, like, the improv society at uni, everyone's always like joining improv. It's great for your like confidence. And I joined it, and there was people being like, the scene is, you guys are going to do is you're trying to return a coffee mug. And then someone like, stop. You just spotted a kidnapped man. And I'm like, what? And they're like, yeah, do the scene, but with that. And then they'll be like, unicorn. There's a dead unicorn. And I'm like, what is going on? This feels like what kids do when they mess around and they play their games and they're like, but I have a lightsaber. So I never got to do it. And casting is kind of that for me. And having that confidence to just make up stuff and just chat and just talk to people. Really, I found that really beneficial just for theatre and just confidence in life, just chatting in front of crowds and stuff in life. I'm way more confident. I'm very happy talking to a crowd now, which is good fun. I enjoy it. What was that?
Yeah. What?
Was that right? What we laughing at? What are you laughing? Is that not the answer you wanted? Like,
no, just because normally
am I not entertaining?
You're very entertaining. You're very good at casting, and I like seeing the translation. What I'm trying to map out here is the interviews like this is a discovery. So there's only so much that I can find out from my personal experience, knowing you as a player, being in the community, and then also just looking on the VRML page, looking on YouTube, and seeing what you've done, what you've been working on. I use these interviews as a way to find out like what else is going on, what else have you been working on, what else like related to Echo, or even completely outside of Echo that you've been working on. And I'm struggling to see like the hidden part, and I'm wondering like what else is going on.
You're my deep dark past.
It doesn't have to be dark, but like what else? Well, okay, we could even look forward. So like, you know what? Let's talk about the Shutdown. You heard about the Shutdown a tad earlier than everyone else, right? And you had a very interesting experience with that. Yeah.
I did. I found out because production lead, which we haven't chatted about yet, but production lead, we found out a week, 10 days, something like that, earlier than everyone else. And that was gutting because you're like, oh, wait, so this is all this casting stuff we're doing and all this work that Sphinx and Wonder have just put into making this casting package. Like, they put in a ridiculous amount of work rebuilding the whole package, because Paolo did it, and then Newton sort of remade a lot of it, Newton Dad, and then he left, and they had to remake everything. And then right after that, Echo shuts down. And so that was gutting for them. But also, like, all of us put in all this work, building all this up and making all these tools for future people to take and work with for Echo if they keep doing it when we've left and stuff. So that was obviously, really, really gutting. But then it was a weird thing because obviously we know and we can't tell anyone. I don't know why we didn't. I can't remember why we didn't, realistically. I probably could have. But I think they wanted to do it, Rad wanted to do it in their proper way. But I remember going into the Echo EU server and stuff and seeing people talking about Echo and their future. And I remember seeing it like in a disaster movie, when like you got the warnings in the background and on TV and what's going to happen, but the characters don't. And it's that impending doom. Like everything they're talking about is just not going to count soon. And they don't know. I had that for like the whole week. And it was rough. It was rough seeing these players. It was really weird being like, no one else knows. But this game that everyone is spending so much time into is just dead. These master players who are talking about what they're going to do and how much more time they're putting in the next few years. And like hours of training every day. Still. Yeah. And of course, as soon as that hits, everyone stops, right? They all stop training. And everyone's like, what's the point? Why do we do all this work into a game we believed in if now suddenly it's being killed off? Yeah. Sad, man. It was sad.
So what did that mean to you when you heard
For
that
me,
it was shutting down?
It was kind of mixed, right? I mean, I was really gutted, obviously, because I'd been thinking for a while about how long I could sustainably keep doing what I was doing.
Yeah.
When, as production leads, sort of started to step away, and we hadn't been had talks about replacing them yet, and I was putting loads and loads of work into new casters training, into doing casts, trying to run to the E side of it, the casting and everything, and my team, all that stuff. So much time for like 3 years consistently. I was like, I don't know how long I can keep doing this. I think I might have to take a break at the end of the season and then come back at some point when I finish uni. And so for me, suddenly I was like, oh, I don't have that choice anymore. But not only does that mean that I have to step away afterwards, but like I also know now that I can't take this break now because this is all the time I have. And I want to enjoy it. The idea that, sure, like VRML ending Echo would be sad, but Echo ending means I can't just go around and meet someone on my team or something and just play a game together. Not being able to have that in the future, that was like gutting. So sad because it's such a huge part of what I've done over the years and been so proud of. And all the casting and everything I'm really, really proud of. It's like, I don't know, all this work, you do obviously have a lot of times of being like, what was the point? What was the point in all that work we did? And personally for me, that wasn't so bad as I know many other casters had. And I'm sure Paldor and Dimwee had this a lot more than I did because they've put in years of work. Just to try and get the future of it. And for me, I've always kind of done it for the now. I guess I didn't really know how much I believed in Echo long term. Like I never thought realistically that it would take off, that it would get any bigger than it was at the time. I kind of always thought it was sort of at its peak. So I wasn't like I'm never looking at it like I was going to make a future and a job of Echo. So at least there was that for me. I didn't have to be like, my 10-year plan is gone, or any of that stuff.
So why did you keep at it? Why did you, like, even to the point where you graduated to like production lead? Why were you so involved with it? Yeah.
I just enjoyed it. I wasn't in it for the future. I was always in it for this season, and then to build something that someone else can use later.
Yeah.
Like, I loved onboarding new casters because I'd see them and they trying to get the future in, and that was really cool for me. That's what I loved was having this community that could grow, doing casts with people, and then letting that go on. And sort of at some point, always imagine myself stepping away and someone else taking over and doing it. Yeah, and obviously a lot of people believed in. I mean, you believed a lot more in the long-term dream of Echo, right?
Yeah. Well, the long-term like VR esports, whether it's Echo, like the way that it kind of stagnated was the last like few years.
Yeah.
I thought it might be something new, but yeah.
Fair, yeah. I think Echo was the only game I played. It was the only one I cared about. And as an esport, I always was like, I think the learning curve is too steep for people to get in en masse. Obviously, the tutorial I tried to do to help that, and we just played a pub, right? Just a pub before this. My first pub in like a year and a half.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't think I'd get into the game with these pubs. They're crazy, man. They're crazy. They're very, very toxic. A lot of yelling kids. So yeah, I just love the community. I loved casting with people. I loved how much people enjoyed being cast. That was crazy. It always shocks me how much people enjoy being cast.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it for me. It was just fun.
Yeah, that is a huge part of it. I realized that when I started doing my community casts, when I was learning how to cast, like I was terrible. I was not a good caster at all. I was not good putting on a good show. But just the fact that I was recording, you don't want to see them. Just the fact that I was recording these matches for them and just talking about them and then bigging them up whenever they scored a goal, they loved it. People really appreciated it.
Yeah,
and I don't know if I've talked about it on the podcast, but it was one in particular, which was Red Juice against Fireballs ages ago. I can't remember when it was. But I cast this game, and all 8 players, they did a very good game, and it was a really close game as well. And when I messaged them all afterwards with the link to the video that I just recorded for them, the stream, all of them... So when I was like, oh, GG's, well played, they were all really down about it. Like, oh, man, yeah, GG's, but we played so bad. On both sides.
Oh, wow.
Even the winners were like, yeah, but we played, we sucked, man, we did so bad. And then they watch the stream and they're like, oh, cheers. That was actually really good to watch.
Oh, that's
so
nice, man.
If we weren't to cast, then their experience of the game would be significantly less fun.
Yeah.
It takes away that magic of the show that we put on as casters.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I think that's so right. It's like especially new teams. I always see it with new
100%.
teams who haven't been cast much, who are so excited to be cast, right? They're like incredibly hyped. Sometimes I'll message like 10 messages asking like, oh, to do this and should I be here and like, is this okay? Because they're so hyped. They're also the hardest teams to cast because they have no idea how to do it. They'll just like, when it gets to time, they'll just start. And you're like just getting the last guy in, you're ready to go, you're setting it up, and game start. Game started. Always a pain, but yeah, they're so. I agree. It's so rewarding when they message you a big like thank you and everything, and they enjoy it. It's so cool. It's so cool that something that we enjoy so much gets other people just excited, and also amazes me people watch it. Personally, I never watch casts. I never have. I love casting, but I've never really been watching the casts. Even like finals, I watch a couple of them, but I'm usually casting them. But if I'm not casting them, like it's an American finals, I don't really watch. Did you get that now when you cast or what?
Yeah, I can relate to that. Unless there's someone that I know playing, or if I'm playing, or if I cast it, there's not really a reason to watch it. Unless it is like NA finals, EU finals.
Yes.
If I'm watching it from a previous season and I want to see like really high level play. Yeah, that's the only other reason I'd watch it. I was going to ask a question. It's gone. Damn it. But I've got a backup question. You're right. I didn't really ask you about, properly the step from a normal caster to being heavily involved as production. Or maybe I kind of did. Is there anything else you wanted to add about that? Like that step up? Were you asked or were you just taking more responsibility already, and they were like, "Yeah, here you go. Here's a title."
No, back when I started, Palador ran everything.
Right.
Dimwee would help out, but really it was Palador. I don't even know back then behind the scenes how much Dimwee was doing, but he wasn't a production lead yet. Because we were the first lot of production leads. So Palador had been doing everything. He built this whole package up. The whole package you see before season 3 or 4 maybe. Yeah, about season 4 was all Palador. And he would just onboard all the casters. He'd made the production handbook, which is like 12,000 words. He would run all of the events. He would organize all of the casters to be in what positions and everything. Everything we later split up and was still a lot of work, he did all of it. So he was like, I'm going to get some production leads. Do you want in? Because I think you're cool and blah, blah. So it was like a few of us, like me, Luke, Newton Dad, Doc Education, not Wonder yet, sorry.
Sputnik?
No, not Sputnik.
No.
Dimwee and can't remember who was his name.
So much for subtlety.
That's it. So Subtlety, who never really joined in like 2 weeks, and that was it. And that kind of team was like the first core team of casting people, who core management team, and that sort of stayed like that from season 4 until season 6 or so. Like, we did about 3 seasons, just us, didn't change. Splitting up responsibility among us and doing all this work. And me and Luke did onboarding, and other people worked in different things and put in a crazy amount of work all around to keep things going. And it was great. We all learned casting. We all would cast a lot. We all learned cams and casting, so we do both of them together. And, it's kind of hard to do. But they all learnt it, and it was just expected that all production leads has to do that. And so if anyone dropped, we could just step in. And then kept doing that, for like 4 seasons. 5 seasons, in fact. 5 seasons. Yeah.
So right now we've got about 8 days left of the game at time of
Yes,
recording this. Where are you at? Are you just a free spirit right now? You no idea what you're going to be doing next year. You just graduated. You're just traveling the world.
Yeah, man, I'm chilling. It's a lot of change in my life. I'm going out of uni, and I am finishing Echo, which sort of the 2 biggest stable things in my life, other than like wedding photography. So I get to see what I want to do, and I'm gonna try and basically do as much as I can this year. I'm going to learn skydiving. I'm going to learn like scuba diving and glider pilot stuff. I'm going to try and travel and shoot weddings in other countries. I'm going to try and get into like commercial photography stuff, maybe other casting opportunities, Luke. And then just travel around and go where I can and try and work out in the next 3 years what I want to do with my life. But kind of just explore till then. Maybe go to America. Maybe go to Australia. I don't know. Live in Australia for a bit. I don't know. No ties. And I love that. I really enjoy just being able to do anything. And having that open to me. If video work means I can go anywhere in the world and kind of do anything with it. And that's really, really cool for me. So I'd like to cast more in like breaches and stuff if one of those games catches my attention and it's as exciting as Echo. So far, just nothing is as fun as this. It's exciting as this. Breaches is cool, but it is like the Ivy guys were saying. It's a game. It's a game. It's not like a sport, which I didn't understand. Everyone said Echo is a sport. Honestly, I never got it until now. That the first time I get it, and I'm like looking at other VR games, and I'm like, oh, I get it. I don't care about these. They're not exciting, exhilarating, sporty stuff. It's a game, That's not my thing. So who knows? Who knows what I'll be in a year? I'm hyped to find out.
I'll ask this question.
Go on, man.
Or everyone else, I've been asking about hardware, like the headsets coming out next. But you're on a Quest 2 at the moment. You started on CV1. Like, what do you think? I mean, you're not a super techie person, but you're pretty like computer literate. What do you think about like the next headsets coming out? The Apple one, the big screen, if you've seen it, Quest 3.
Yeah, I mean, I'm quite techie in some areas.
Cameras, I bet you're really techie.
I'm so techie of cameras. Obsessed. And computer stuff, I love repairing computers and everything and all that. VR, honestly, the only thing that really I care about in VR is echo.
Yeah.
And I only got a Quest because I went to uni and I couldn't set up a CV1. I wasn't fussed about the fact that the throwing was worse because I was just enjoying it. Quest 3, personally, I don't have that much interest in at the minute. Big screen, same. There's nothing out there right now that makes me go, I want to do that. The other day I played Beat Saber and Blast On for the first time in like 3 years. And I was like, maybe that's 2 years, but I was like, they're fun, they're really fun. But it's just not, it's like VR for me is echo. And this is like a completely different area that just doesn't hold my interest at the minute. So for me, I hope big screen's good. I hope Quest 3 is cool. That's it. I don't really know. I wish I did. My friend's really into VR, so I'll ask him. I'll ask him his opinion and get back to you.
So we were impromptu after the interview. We carried on talking, and we were talking about VRML production, all the gossip, all the gritty gossip about it. And
we're good.
Running interviews. Yeah, we're running.
It's straight in. Hello, guys.
Yeah, I recorded.
Sick.
We were talking. You were like, "Yo, let's record this." So well, interviews. The interview work you did, I mentioned about how I was speaking to Wonder 2 days ago, and the work that you did in season 4, and what you contributed to VRML, putting those 30 hours a week in, whilst juggling university work for interviews. Yeah.
So when I joined, there was, I think season 1, or I think there was maybe 2. There was some interviews someone did, where it was just like some shots of the team playing, and then one of the players talking over it a little bit. They say a line, and then there'll be a shot of the team, and another line. It would be like very serious and very short interviews, sort of more just like them saying something. And they didn't do that when I joined, and I was like, I kind of want that back. That's fun, and I enjoy that. And so season 4, I proposed this idea. Now, it's a weird thing being a production lead, because Paladors run everything. And suddenly as production lead, you can just do anything. There's no one above you, really, other than the board who don't really interact. So if you want to do something, you just do it. It's what people don't really get, I think, is that because it's volunteer-based, there's no one to consistently do things. There's a lot of who can do this now. And if you want something done, you run it. So I kind of checked it with the guys. I was like, what do you think about interviews? And they were like, sure, go for it. So I came up with an idea, and I got people to sit over there on top of a nest, and I would just chat to the teams. And first one I did, I just manually organized every team a time to get them in and chat to them, and just made up some questions and got a chance to talk to the teams. And it was like one of the first times they'd ever talked to a camera about and had a personality beyond what you meet them in game. So if you've never chatted to them before, it's the first time you've seen these players, and it was really popular. I really enjoyed them. And I just kept doing that every end finals, and then eventually we get to every CC and qualifiers and everything. We just do these interviews, and I had so many of them. And yeah, it would be so much work at first. Crazy amount of work. I'd be up at like 2 a.m. interviewing a team from America, and then 6 a.m. a team from Oceania, because I didn't have anyone else to help out with it. It was dumb. It was crazy. Not what I was doing.
Is there anything else that you wanted to mention on the record as well? You were talking about VRML and the work that you had to put in as production lead.
Well, I mean, on the interviews front, I will say real quick that I actually got a job in real life because of this. I did because someone was looking for someone to do club interviews in a club. of like drunk students, and I was like, I can do that
Easy.
because I've done VRML ones, and I'm like, I think I can do this now. So I was obviously really nervous. Set up a camera, had a microphone I DIY'd out of a video mic, strapped to a recorder, and I just go to the club and be like, go up to a drunk person and be like, do you want to do an interview? And they'd be like, yeah. So I get them over. I just chat these people to the camera, just blind, like no planned interview, and do like 8 of them a night. Go home and earn money for the week, and that was my whole work at uni. It was great. That was so good.
Was it the club themselves?
It was, yes. The company goes in and runs a student night at the club. And one of their things, their marketing, is these interviews. So I do that and edit them into a 1-minute video of these tiny snippets of each conversation where someone's like saying something funny.
And you do these at weddings as well, do you? Do you go around with a camera and mic?
No, I don't. I'm looking at it. At the minute, I just do the cinematic, speeches over the video and all that. But I just think it's cool. Those ones came a lot from being able to talk to people in game and interview them and being like, I can do this, I think. And I do them at the lands now too, and being able to be like, this is fun. And I saw the job and I was like, I can do that. And that's Mecca, which is awesome.
Yeah, that is awesome. And you've got so good at that as well. When we were in Italy and you interviewed Ivy, I thought that was so on point.
You liked it?
Interview.
Oh,
Yeah,
thanks,
really
man.
good. It was so professional. And
I appreciate
you
that.
encouraged them all to speak.
I don't know what I'm doing really. I'm kind of making it up as I go. They're a lot more relaxed when you're not in front of a crowd, like in Duckman Land too. You can just chill out and laugh around a bit more. And that was a bit like I've no prep, no planning questions. I've kind of just gone straight into it. And then the really hard one was he threw me a curveball when he gave me the blast on guy. You can see if you watch it back. The 2 teams, I'm like, yeah, that's good, you're done. And then he's like, gets the blast on guy. He's like, whispers to me like, and the blast on guy. And I'm like, what? And so he whispers his name to me. I'm like, what was it? And he whispers it again. I don't hear it. So I never mentioned his name the whole interview. I'm like, where's our blast on winner?
No.
Come on, bro. And I'm like, so, my man. And I'm like, I don't know anything about the blast on competition other than that one game I saw. So I'm like, how was it? And then he was like, yeah, it was good. And I'm like, did good. Did you learn any tips and tricks? So I'm just making it up. And he was great. But yeah, that one I was like, I feel like this is going terrible. But you've got to just enjoy it and hope for the best. I don't know, how did it look from your end? How did it look?
What, specifically the blast on one?
The blast on one, yeah.
I didn't even notice until that point you did stumble. When like the last question ends and you're like, oh, so any tips and tricks? Oh yeah, he does.
I'm like, I was like thinking, oh my god, I gotta stop doing this. I just thinking, I was like, I'll come empty. I'm like, I have nothing in blast on I can ask him. Because you and Edgar, I know enough that I can just run off questions for hours. But Blaster, I'm like, I have no idea. I don't know the weapon combos. I can't be like, so why did you pick the Raptor today? I don't know what he did. How did you feel not losing a single round? I'm like, did he lose? Who knows? Was he the underdog? How many games did he play? How long has he been playing? I have no clue. So I'm just, making up questions, desperately trying to get enough time that it sounds good. And at the end of it again, I'm just like, give it up for your blast on the winner. Because I don't know his name. Oh, it was good fun.
You know
it was
his
good fun
name now, though, right?
No. I don't know his name.
Slowed.
Huh?
Does that ring a bell? Slowed.
Doesn't.
And then a D at the end.
Yeah, that's
Slowed.
not what I thought the name was at all. I thought his name was 2 parts and ended in like leg or something.
No idea.
Yeah, no clue. Slowed. That's an easy name to remember. Man, that's the guy who won. Yeah, I'm so sorry. Slowed, if you watch this, you were great. You were really impressive. You interviewed very well. Didn't know your name though. I'm so sorry. What are you gonna do? But yeah, that's it. No, I'm like, go on.
I don't want to be the one that's like bringing this up.
Go on. Give it to me. Sorry, that's what I'm trying to say. Mitch,
all right, cool.
trying to be
Okay.
too nice in your podcast.
I am trying to be too nice. I'm trying to keep
You
the drama
are.
out, but sure, that's the spicy bit. That's the
Bring
bit
it
of
in.
views. All right then. So, yeah, your positivity has prevented EU falling apart early. What was going on? What fires were you fighting?
That's a curveball. Look, I mean, behind the scenes, there's a lot going on. Obviously, I'm not going into too much personal drama, but there's a lot going on behind the scenes. I'll tell you what was hard was
Go on.
we had a drought of EU casters.
Yes.
It was a lot of work to try and manage stuff behind the scenes when production leads were stepping away. We'd put a lot of time in and trying to bring on new casters and stuff. Luke and I built a system to bring in new casters, all from scratch, where we had 3 levels of them. We'd interview them to get them in, and then we'd then give them training, and they'd start off a base trainer, and then they'd get another level, and then when they were the best, they could cast on their own on VRML 1. That took ages. And we were like, there's only 2 of us, so we did a season of that, and we found it so hard to get people in. That was season 4.
Right.
We found it really hard to get people through because it was just so much
How many
manageable.
people were you having apply? Because I remember when I came in, I think Skag's name was about, and like that was it. There was no other EU people wanting to get involved.
You were season 6, right?
Season 5 finals. No.
Yes, that's season 6 finals.
Season 6 final. You're right. So that's when I came in. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so that was a while after this. So season 4 we're starting, and we're trying to get people in, but it's a lot of work, a lot of manual work to get the quality up. Yeah. So we slowly pull it back and optimize it. But at the same time, it's getting more and more work for us in other areas to cover stuff. Luke started to step away, so I started just doing all the stuff myself. We sort of work with Luke to get people in, but they need to step away. And I was taking over the helping organize the tournaments, and managing casters who are a bit unruly and trying to sort that stuff out. It was a whole thing. So it became harder and harder. And then by the end, we'd have a lot of dips where we have not enough casters or not enough cameramen, too many casters, back and forth. When you joined, obviously, there was just not enough excitement from EU. I think that was because we'd lost EU casters for a while, and so people weren't applying, and so then it's hard to get more stuff in. People from EU really wanted to be cast. They thought EU did not like them.
Who did you have around? Yeah, what EU casters were around before I came along?
Woodsy, Lockie, Wolfo.
Wolfo? No, Cams. Wolfo did Cams.
Yeah, Wolfo did Cams. Yeah. And that might be it. I can't remember. Of them Swift a while ago. That might be it. That might be everyone who did EU recent times. If I'm forgetting someone, I'm so sorry. I love you. I don't think I am. And so it wasn't massive, but we'd have people like Psychotic and Luke, Newton Dad, all the people doing a lot of EU casts to pick up the slack. And then when they sort of started to get more busy and Newton Dad stepped away, EU did suffer from that a long time. And I stepped away. I came really busy with uni, and all I could do was manage behind the scenes stuff. I couldn't do casting too. And so people didn't see cast, they didn't get excited by it, and they didn't apply. So, when you joined, it was you and Skag, and I don't think Skag cast. So, end up just being you. And then me at the end as well and stuff. But it was rough. It was a shame because I wanted to get more in. I really wanted to, but it was so much time just keeping it going. So, we really pushed. I mean, interviews. I kept doing interviews whenever, each time. But I just sort of stopped doing the CCs because it became too much work. And I had a whole system for it at that point, but just as I said, like editing or organizing people to do them, shooting them myself, and editing them all and then putting them out would be like 30 hours of work across like 5 days on top of uni, which is a lot of time,
Even if there wasn't a lot, this is just me being overly positive, but even if there wasn't a lot of EU casters, I do appreciate, I think it was season 5 finals. That's when they wanted to have like this pre-show where you'd have the matches with the casters, and then but before that you'd have like 4 like face profiles talking for like 10 minutes. And I remember, I think Jig Girls joined for it. Pinched came over. Pinch was on there.
That would have been season 6.
I think Nightfire. It was season 6.
That would have been 6, yeah.
But yeah, I remember Pinch putting in a lot of work for EU.
Pinch
He wanted
did,
to
yeah.
make sure that everyone got a lot of casts.
Yeah, Pinch
in the
did. Pinch
absence
was
of
great
EU
for that.
casters.
Yeah. That was good. That was good. Because people think VRML didn't like EU. It's completely not true. Like behind the scenes, I can see the mod chats and I can see our chats, the casters. Dimwee, for example. People think Dimwee doesn't like EU. Dimwee is so for EU. He wants to help EU so much. All these people do. And it was just a case of it sometimes it couldn't happen. We didn't have the manpower to do it. People would come out to cast EU, but most of the time they're casting your own region. Because those are what you care about. You know, I care about EU teams. I don't care about NA teams. Because I don't know any of them. I'll cast them for fun with like other people like Luke, but I want to cast EU. I want to cast you guys. It's more fun. So of course, you know, you get a drought, and people kind of take that sometimes that big VRML doesn't like it, which caused a lot of obviously drama later. But
So how was that drama for you? Because I was kind of involved in that. I was kind of pulled into it purely out of like I was just investigating. I was like, wait, so what is going on here?
Yeah.
Why is there no communication? Where is the bridge here? Why is it? What is this like? Why EU community as a whole seems to have this like inferiority complex? Like, no, they don't like us. They won't be nice to us. We got to do it ourselves. Like, what? Why are we not talking here? And do you have what was it like from your point of view? Literally being on the inside as well.
We discussed this a lot in Italy with people like Savage, who was staying with, and it really reminded me of this, of the whole thing. It really felt like there was such a severe divide where you've got sort of a mob on one side, which is VRML, who really think they've learned that Master Tier is being shut down. That came after, behind the scenes, we see all this. You're looking for your teams for Master Tier, for Master Qualifiers, and you've got your main ones here. And then no one here can do it, and he can't do it, and he can't do it. So you're going down here, and there's one, and then one more is like down here, because none of these teams are ready to do it. And so you've got like a team, like I did Master Qualifiers when I was gold. We were never going to win that. Like, that happened all the time. We would not have enough teams to do it in EU. And it came when all these teams that sort of yesed it, had to drop out, and a lot of them couldn't do it. And they were looking so far down, it was like, we can't do this. And it's like, in 2 days. So they just pull the plug, right? Which people were obviously understandably upset about, but I think really it was very justified. I think the problem really came after that, when people then were like, they hate us. And there was a lot of arguments where people would be very argumentative, and then people like Dimwee would come in and try and be... Dimwee is he's great. I love Dimwee. He's very matter of fact. He's very to the point. And he very much believes in just being blunt and honest. And he'll openly say he doesn't deal with this stuff very well, which is why he tries to step away from it a lot more. But I think he absolutely wanted the best and to prove the best. But then when you're getting people arguing and being quite personal with these attacks, these mods will just shut it down, because they're like, this is just not helping. We're causing arguments. And then so someone would do a really pointed comment, they'd get muted. People would be like, mods are abusing their power for muting this person. People with criticisms, I'd see them and they'd be fine. They wouldn't be muted. Genuinely well-put criticism is fine. But a criticism that's just insult, really, in disguise, And I love EU. I want this resolved. I really want to find a solution. But it was sad to see. I think there was such a divide where just such big arguments happening. It was really sad. And people like Lilu doing wonders out there, doing their absolute best to like.
Oh yeah, massive shout out Lilu. She does not get like the respect and not what's the word I mean? Like
appreciation,
that she does,
right?
Appreciation that she needs.
Love you, Lilu. You're incredible. I always loved Lilu. She's been around for so long, doing all the social media stuff. So much work. Social media posts that they put out are manually done because she picks the matches. Lilu will pick the match to share and then manually shares that post constantly. So much work. And which is a shame. And I think it was for the best that we cut EU, Master really. As much as it sucks, it makes way more sense to have Master be a part of Ladder.
What if you were in charge, if you could, like, if like Nightfire or Darkin, whoever was like really running it at a high level at that time, if they were like, Retep, figure this out. You tell me what's going on. You tell me what to do, and we're doing that. What would you have said at the time?
I think I would have gone for, I can't remember the exact solution, but there was one with just less teams. A master qualifier, master thing with less teams. It was like 6 master teams or something. And then a different format of doing tournaments, because that was a big thing. Tournaments are hard with different number of master teams.
Yeah.
Because you have to do a completely different, 8 teams or whatever it was works great. I can't even remember. But less was like really confusing. I think there was a solution we found. I wish I can remember it. It's like a year or more. 2 years? No.
No. It's last
How
year.
long?
Wait, it's not even. It was
Season 6,
like
right?
2022, November, December.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So like,
Right.
so long ago now at this point that I can't remember exactly. But I think there was an opportunity. And the trick was, I think, would be do ladder, and then the top teams fight it out to be.
No, sorry to I'll interrupt
master.
quickly. It was around this time because it was July and everyone was complaining it was too hot to play. Do
It
you
was
remember?
summer.
There was a heat wave. Yeah.
People wouldn't play over summer. So before summer. It was before summer because people were like they wouldn't play in the summer. Yeah. I remember that. You're right. You are right. And so I think there was a solution where later on you cut at the beginning and then later on you see how many teams are playing, and then if you look at the top teams, if you think they're good enough, then you go, bring it back. These teams are in. These teams are fighting for a place, and there's like 8 teams fighting for a place rather than like 12. Yeah. I think that would have worked. I think there was just too much conflict.
If they said, hey, Retep, you're a production lead, would you like to take a different position where it's sort of like EU manager? So you managed a tournament, you managed a production for EU, you managed this and that. Would you have been like, thanks, but no thanks, way too much work? Or would you have been like, yeah, I'll do that, but I want to share the position with someone else from NA?
I don't think I would have. I don't think I would have, because I love casting, and I all my time I want to put into doing that. And making casting happen. And tournament organizing, I did loads more of it at the end, but it wasn't my goal. I didn't enjoy it as much, and that would have taken away from casting and trying to bring more casters to EU. And already I was.
You know what I hoped happened? I really hoped that someone would have just stepped up from EU. Someone that had been around for a while. That would have helped it massively. There was a lot of people complaining with like little actual contribution and stepping up and offering.
There was a thing at one point, there was discussions about this. I can't remember why it didn't happen. If I'm remembering right, this nearly happened, something like this, and it didn't, and I can't remember why. And I think you're right. It would have been great. It would have been so good. It would have been the dream. It's a shame. But EU was small. It was smaller than OCE, wasn't it? Is that right?
I don't know if it was smaller, but it was like, I think that's led to the argument of shutting down master tier. Because if you're the size of OCE and this is what we do with OCE, then it just makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I think people forgot this, but EU got the same prizes as NA.
Yeah.
But with like 10 times less teams.
Yeah.
Crazy. You're getting the same prize money, but for way, way fewer teams.
Yeah.
VRML put a lot into EU, and the problem with the whole thing was there wasn't master tier as like a separate ladder. Then it got brought in, and then they added in the I forget the name of it, but the cycle, master, the competition stuff.
Yeah.
And people loved that because there was extra money there. Then they took it away again. People were like, how do I go back to what it was? Because this was so good and rewarding, and I don't want to go back. And then they put master back in ladder, and people were like, this makes no sense. But it's how it was before, and it worked great before. And I think it did work fine in the sea. I mean, what do you think? Do you think it worked okay?
Well, I think having master tier like that, so the top 10 people get considered as master, it becomes a goal that you can reach. It becomes something you can aim for, where there's all these teams that are ranked between 10 and about 30, maybe 40. 10 to 30. The teams that sit there, they have a genuine chance of getting a master tier and being known as like one of the best, one of the elite among EU. That's appealing and reachable enough to drive like a whole ladder of teams. When that went away, like there's no drive. Like, oh, I need to compete to be one of the top 2 teams in the whole region. Like that, it just becomes so impossible.
But wasn't there still the star and the master star?
Yeah, for 2 teams rather than 10.
Oh, 2 teams. You're right.
Yeah.
I see. Yeah, that's. I think there should have built. I think there should have still been 6 teams with master to star, and not a separate ladder. Because the problem with separate ladder is if you're the bottom team that gets in, you just lose every game.
Yeah, you're beaten up.
Whereas in a ladder, you're constantly fighting your position.
Yeah.
And then if you're high enough, you do go into finals. It's still the same, but it's a little bit more fair, I think.
Well, what I liked about it before was with having the master tier, those 10 teams, you then at the beginning of the season had this qualifier tournament, and also you had Challenger Cup. That's it. It means that you have Challenger Cup, so all you have to do is place like 16th, and you can get in to be playing the top teams. And that becomes something that's actually achievable. Like, we could actually do this as like a diamond or plat team. It becomes reachable. But when that's taken away, it's like, well, what's the point? It's so much work for literally nothing.
That's fair. That is fair. I in my head, I think they still had Challenger Cups, but maybe they didn't. Maybe you're right.
No, when
that
they
makes
lost
sense.
the thing.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah, that's fair. That is a bit gutting, isn't it?
Chip or no chip?
Explain this to me. Right. Forgotten this. Oh, chip in the head. Chip in the head.
Yes,
chip in the noggin.
Yes.
No shot. I am the modern AI stuff. I was really into it when it came out. Very quickly, I hate it. I hate AI, and the fact that AI is taking over everything is. Cause I'm very on it with AI stuff and like where it's coming out, and I use it a lot for work and stuff. But man, I don't like it.
How do you use it?
So I do wedding photos. It's obviously incredible Photoshop AI. Being able to just change a scene instantly is ridiculous. It's like hours of work in minutes now. It used to be painting out backgrounds manually was a real pain, and fixing a little fire hydrant. And now I can just draw it and be like, boom, it's gone. And I'm getting into more for like, I'm constantly looking out for it for video editing help. And all this stuff. I use loads of it for essay help, for ChatGPT and stuff. I use ChatGPT for loads of things now, trying to learn stuff and explain stuff better and solve problems and all this. But the fact that that's growing so fast, when I was younger, I read about the whole thing of like AGI and like how deadly it is, but also how likely it is. And the fact that it's so incredibly likely, like way more than I thought. Like in terms of not sci-fi, genuinely this could happen. Makes me be like, this is, modern world, horrifying. I like the world now. I don't want it to become this crazy, AI run world. I know that sounds, too like old fashioned thing. I don't mean like that. I just think that AI is going to change a lot of things very quickly. Could be good, but it could also be really bad. I don't really want that in my head because I like my head as it is right now. And obviously, as you said, everyone says, see how it goes. Yeah, sure, see how it goes. But my inclination is, nah. No. My phone is already too much. I hate my phone, spending hours on my phone a day. I'm currently deleting all my apps again because I hate scrolling on them. Doom scrolling, man. Oh, it's awful, isn't it? Instagram Reels and stuff. Oh, it's the worst. But I can't stop doing it. So yeah, sorry enough. I think if I got that, it would just be worse. And, Oh. Hey, hello. How's that for an answer?
Is there anything... This is a beautiful answer. That was a really good answer. Solid answer.
Thank you.
And it's rare for people to actually say no. Most people are like, yeah, sure, I'll give it a go. So I
I
like
think-
hearing those flip ones.
We're in a VR space, right? This is all VR and it's futuristic, and everyone's like, future, yeah, it's cool. But I just think it's so risky. It's incredibly risky. Yeah, I mean, it's just more phone closer. I had a Fitbit for a while. And I was like, hate that. That's worse. It's just not as good as my watches. It's just like worse. And I'm more connected to social media, and it's not as good. I've been it. Yeah.
Retep, is there
go on.
anything else that you want to say while on this platform? Any other like shout outs you want to make, or any other like parts of your story that we didn't quite touch on you'd like to go back to?
Great
having a
question.
record?
Let me think. My story. I feel like I'm quite public with my stuff, my story stuff now. So I don't know how much is hidden.
Well, it doesn't have to be hidden stuff, but just anything that you just want to highlight, or anyone like helped you along the way. You spoke about Luke helping you when you.
Oh my, go on, let's do that. I mean, I think I will say, still now, Palador is my absolute Echo hero. He stepped away for such a long time, to deal with his own stuff, and now he's talking about future life stuff and everything. But I so gutted I never got to go to the American LAN because I had my finals at the same time. I'm gutted I couldn't go and meet everyone out there with those casters. Psychotic and Offbeat, Dimwee, Palador, all the people deep, everyone like that. I really wish I met them because I think they're all so cool and so talented, but especially Palador. So hopefully I can do more of him one day. And of course, Luke, my absolute day one OG, my man, who just taught me everything about casting and so much about Echo and stuff. And my team, who I love so much. And I loved hanging out with when I met them in person a few times, and who stayed with me and had fun with the team for like 6 seasons. Nope, 5. Well, how many seasons it is? 6 seasons. Crap, 6 seasons.
Yeah.
3 solid years. It's like hundreds of hours together, still doing it. Those are my big things. And people I really, really appreciate in my life. It's been really magic, and it's been such a journey. And I appreciate you talking to me, man. This is cool. This is a very, very cool experience to be interviewed here. I've done a lot of interviews, obviously, in Echo with these teams, but I've never been interviewed.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Awesome. Yeah, I'm really glad that you took the time to do this. I'm glad that you're so good at telling your story as well. I really appreciate all the work you've done particularly for the EU scene. Like, you've really carried it in terms of the production side, being a production lead, making sure that we had a voice in the organization of VRML, making things happen, holding your team together for 6 seasons, all the work you put in there. Those interviews, the team interviews you did. Go on, you're going to say something.
I was going to say, I think this is crazy to me. When you said to me the other day, I'm thinking about this so much. When you said, you were like, you're like the most experienced EU caster. Yeah. And I've never thought of that before. Because I always look at Swift as the caster who held EU together or anything. And so like, it's crazy to hear you even saying that now, but it's awesome. I love it. And I'm really incredibly happy to do stuff EU. And I just wish I'd had time to do more. All I wanted is do more, because the solo casts I did with EU were my favorite ever. Just me and EU chilling. Love it. But yeah, so sorry, go on. Please.
Yeah, no, it's really appreciated. It's really evident as well how much work you've put into it, all of the casts that you've done. And like I say, all the VRML stuff, all those interviews you did, like just the production side and giving EU the show that it needs with your positivity. I think you're in an amazing place right now. I know you're busy blushing right now, but
I am. Not so much.
I know it means a ton to you, because I remember the season 7 finals where you're on cast, and like as it finished, you were super sad. You had me and Yazai on the stream as well.
Yes.
And your flatmates came in and gave you a hug as you started to tear up.
Yeah.
That was cute.
Right after it ended, they were watching the other room and they came in and gave me a big hug. Yeah. That meant a lot.
I think you're in an amazing place right now, finishing uni, like your whole life ahead of you. You're early 20s, right? Or like 23, 24?
23.
Around there. 23. You've got years ahead of you. You're about to go traveling. You said you got something lined up for September. I think it's going to be really interesting having an interview like this again in about 5-10 years and see what you did with that time.
Oh,
Exciting.
Oh, we could do that. Oh, that would have fun. You know, can I tell you my one real regret?
Oh no, go on.
I got so emotional when you were talking at the end and you started crying. Is that after this? Wait, is there spoilers? Whatever. What are you gonna do?
Okay.
This is a big one.
If
That's the big
anything,
one,
it's a
right?
teaser. It's a teaser.
That's teaser. But when you started crying at the end, I got so overwhelmed with that I gave the lamest ending ever. And I instantly was like, I wanted to say all it is you're saying now to you. But in the moment, I was just like, I've just got nothing. There's nothing I can say right now. And everyone was just watching me like say something. And I was like, yeah, man, this has been fantastic. Like, talking to us. So sorry for that. But that, because I think what you're doing here is beautiful. That's all. And it's making me blush. Look at that, bud.
Awesome.